1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let an evil lie, so we say, but I'll hide from the devil on judgment day. Said a boom, hot rod, a boom man, boom, hot rod, a boom man, boom, hot rod, moving on down the line. Well, me and the devil sitting at a stoplight, we started rolling on the right side. Said a boom, hot rod, a boom man, boom, hot rod, a boom man, boom, hot rod, moving on down the line. Look behind, here come the devil doing 99. I said, a boom, hot rod, a boom, hot rod, a boom, hot rod, moving on down the line. Oh, let's drag now. What I got, one and only, get ready for a ride. Running loose and out of sight. For setting the base, that story is too out here to say. Now we've got to have my leg. If you're more just won't stop. Walk down cars, who exhaust your board, and beers to get rid of it all, and I take you to. I felt all with me for me and my high school. I don't make the leg in a white. Put on the gas, and I arrested me. Threw me in jail, I called my old man, threw my bell, and he said, son, you want to drive it and drink it if you don't stop. Got that hot rod swinging. All right. I was driving that. Wow. Thank you very much. Thanks for a seatbelt.
I thought this was a very cool thing, my human turned angel element. I was writing about superheroes before in prose. And no, apparently the cool element is rockabilly, which I totally agree with, because even though I had Griffin Shaw and I knew that this is what I wanted my new paranormal to be about, I didn't have a story until the rockabilly aspect, so it literally sat in my mind for 7 years before I could write this. One day I was running errands in Vegas. There's a cut your hair for $5 place, and I had about $5 in my pocket in 5 minutes, and I just was a little impulsive, and I ran in. The guy who cut my hair was rockabilly. He had this gorgeous palm, had the period Sarah Jerry tattoos, and I was very curious because I just didn't. It hadn't crossed my mental radar before. It had in passing, but it didn't stick for whatever reason. But I saw him and was fascinated when he started talking about his wife, and she only wear the Bakelite jewelry. She only dresses in period clothes. She's only wearing, she wears the little cap glasses, and I thought, that's fascinating. And fun, the thing, every time I talk to somebody about it, and I'm certainly no expert, actually I'm becoming an expert just out of the research because it's so much fun and I can get carried away and just do the research and not really write the book. So I walked out with this really great story. All of a sudden I had a story and a really lopsided haircut. So it was a trade-off, and it was well worth it because the hair grew back. But this is the first time I've written from the male point of view in long prose, and before I was writing in first person, and this is a third-person narrative from his point of view and hers, because I really wanted them equals, and I also wanted to show that male-female, which is, that bands, a lively thing and a kind of a good thing. Back in the 50s and 60s, men had their roles, women had their roles, and if you've read any of my previous fiction, you know that I really believe in strong women, but I also believe that a woman's strength can come in many different forms. So I based their relationship and that dynamic off of Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. And Spencer Tracy, oh my God, I fell in love with him. He's not like who you would typically think is your leading man, and terribly handsome. Well, he was a leading man, wasn't he? But not the most handsome, not the prettiest, not the Brad Pitt of his day, but whew, that guy could act, and he had that energy, that all-American, gruff, you know, man's man sort of energy, and there's definitely an element of that, you know, to the rockabilly. So I thought that is somebody who, Kit, who, my girl, her name's actually Catherine, so you know, there's homage there to Katharine Hepburn, but somebody that she would definitely respond to, so. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, and I asked that question too years ago when I was writing my first book. I asked that question of Diana Gabaldon, if anybody has read the Outlander series. And so I said that to her, I'm like, well, what if you write yourself exactly into a corner? And you just, you know, you're 40,000 words in or whatever it is, crazy, and you've written yourself into a corner. And she writes these epic ginormous, I figured if anybody knows it's her. And she goes, what did she say? She said, well, then I just grab a bulldozer and turn it into a cul-de-sac or something. She's just like, oh. You know? I was like, yeah, you're creating your own world. No, well, it's like with angels. Who's going to tell me I'm wrong? Right? On Zoe?
Yes.
You like Zoe?
I love Zoe.
I do too. I do too. I was thinking about, you know, and I haven't thought about this extensively because Joanna is not speaking to me anymore. We are not on speaking terms, and for good reason, because she's pissed off at me. I mean, I really put her through the ringer in 6 books, and I am talking about this person as if she is real because I had to live with her for 7 years. I mean, you know, she is very real to me. So I'm a little bit crazy, but yeah. So she's off drinking Mai Tais. I don't know. You know, so she's clearly not coming back anytime soon. However, I was wondering what Ashlyn was doing. Her daughter. And you know, Ashlyn's with Zoe, and I thought that could be interesting. But there's another strong woman for you, you know. And so she's kind of my favorite. But you know, we're gonna wait on that for a minute, just see if it percolates. But yeah. In my second book, there's in this series, there's a reader, and I just asked on Facebook who wants me to kill him, and he said yes, and I really like him, but he's going to die horribly. And I didn't. In the second book, there is a drug that I came across my mental radar when I was probably procrastinating on the internet, and it is so horrifying and so awful, and I'm like, James, look at this awful, horrifying, worst thing you've ever seen in your life, and he's like, oh! You know, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's, you know, that's the reaction I'm looking for. So anytime somebody cringes away from my work, I'm like, yeah, that's what I. And so even my editor, she's like, wait a minute, you mean this is real? And I'm like, yeah, this is real. She's like, oh my gosh, maybe you should do an author's note in the back. I'm like, yeah, I've never done an author's note before. You know, so now I'm looking for the element that will let me do author's notes and prologues and those little dedications in the front. Oh well, talking and boring you. I mean, I will let you go home. Lock the doors! Play more music! Book signing.
There's more.